Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. I'm your mayor, Chewy Plays Nintendo, joined by my co-mayor, Sergio. Today we will discuss how Animal Crossing has changed our social lives. I also talk about revisiting Pocket Camp and the recent tour I took of Animal Crossing population growing. Hi Sergio, how you doing?
Hello, Chewy, and hello, everybody. I'm doing well. What about yourself?
I'm doing well. We did a quick little intro today. We got some cool things to talk about. It's been a crazy weekend, I guess. Jackie has gone away to Montana on a writing retreat, and she's going to be gone for about 9 days. And I have meticulously planned all of my hours to just create as much as possible for YouTube. So it's today was the first day and it was crazy.
Nice.
I never got so much done in my life. But anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Animal Crossing and, just how we have experienced this game in like social settings, either in person, online, but just that multiplayer experience of Animal Crossing. Especially because now that I think of it, this game has been described by Nintendo as a communication game, right? And it's hard to have a communication game without some type of communication. And so I guess let me give a quick background on all of the games and how the multiplayer worked. Essentially, the first game was the most different multiplayer experience, right? You had to get somebody else's memory card, which meant somebody had to physically hand you a memory card back in the day and say, all right, I guess I won't play Animal Crossing today.
Right.
Or tonight while you look at my town. And so you put that memory card in, you go to Porter, you ride the train, and you take that to the next town. And it's not really a multiplayer type of way to play. That's just how you visit people. You can have multiple files in the game too, but everybody can only play one at a time, It would be crazy if, now that I'm thinking of it, if in the next game it had like split screen multiplayer. So like you could both live in your town and then both of you could play. I feel like they would do this.
Yes.
Just because the Joy-Con, that is the one reason they would do it. Split the joy.
Yes.
Share the joy. And I'm calling it right now. Next Animal Crossing is going to have split screen multiplayer.
Nice. Yes. Yes.
I would love that, really. It would be so much fun. Especially because, I don't know, part of the thing that I ran into in the first game was like, we would be like rolling dice. I don't know what to call them. Plural. The plural form of dice. We'd roll them and like whoever got some number would get to go first, or we'd flip a coin, I probably should have went with flip a coin. Sorry. Anyway, so you wanted to play first. And the reason you wanted to play first was because you got the first chance to look and find fossils.
Right.
Meanwhile, if you weren't first, you had to hope that they didn't notice the fossil and you saw it only. And that has happened. My friend has walked by some and I'd be like taking mental note, and then I'd play and he'd be like, oh man, you saw that. But anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. So the first game, it was never like multiplayer together, From there, the DS came out, and that added all sorts of multiplayer. There was local multiplayer and internet multiplayer.
Right.
So you could play both online and in person, and that was awesome, right?
Right.
That was the first, like, I guess that's just how modern Animal Crossing works, because then you got that in, I guess technically City Folk did not have local multiplayer. You had to play online to play multiplayer, just because it was a home console. It works a little differently. But then the 3DS gave us that same Wild World experience. And then I guess Happy Home Designer didn't exactly have multiplayer, right? You could share your designs online and visit people's designs online. That was about as multiplayer as it got.
Yes.
Um, Amiibo Festival, that's no player. Nobody plays that game. I don't know a single person who does, except, I don't know. I guess I've made the videos in the past. I've played it. But yeah, that is, just local multiplayer. You think
Right.
out of anything, they would have put online multiplayer for this game. Um,
Yes.
I would play it more if it were, I would play it with you
Yes.
right away.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
especially because it doesn't have real mini games, so there's really no reason not to have it, I think.
Yeah, there's literally no game. I don't understand why we can't play it online. And then I guess Pocket Camp, I guess the multiplayer works where you can see people show up in your different areas
Mhm.
and you can visit their campsite.
Right.
And you can also trade items and things with them. And, you can see invisible bugs just appear on your flowers or disappear from somebody else's flowers.
Right.
um, but yeah, so that is essentially how multiplayer has worked in Animal Crossing in every game. And now we're going to break it down. We're going to go over our multiplayer experiences in each game and, just tell a little story about how the social aspect of the game has, changed us for
Right.
the most part. So, yeah, do you want to start? Do you want to? Because I've been talking for a while now.
Sure. Yeah, so population growing, back in 2002 for the GameCube, I was playing the game and I liked it. And back then, I was already living in the United States, and about every year or so, at least once, I would go back to Mexico with my family. And one, my cousin Jorge, he was a gamer and still is. He's pretty much the only one in my family that also plays games. So definitely I brought my systems and my games and we would play together. And I do remember showing him Animal Crossing and he did like it, but he, being in Mexico, he's not a native English speaker or reader. So he understood the premise and he liked it. He wasn't familiar or introduced to the simulation or a life sim genre of games. So he was definitely interested and he liked it, but it wasn't for him simply because he couldn't read English and it's a really big part of the experience.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I was worried about giving, and I actually didn't, but my nephew got just a 2DS recently, and
mm,
he's really into Mario right now.
right,
So he had a Super Mario birthday party, and I was between getting him Animal Crossing or Mario Kart 7. And in the end, I was like, I don't know. It's a lot of reading. I don't know if he can handle it quite
right,
yet.
right.
So I kind of skipped it over for that, but I don't know. I'm hoping next year he'll be ready to do some reading because I'm getting him Animal Crossing New Leaf for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, you can go on. Sorry to
Yeah, no problem,
interject.
no problem. So, in actually the same thing happened with my best friend Danny. I introduced him to both the series and the genre, and he lives here in the U.S. He does read and speak English, and he liked it. He is an Animal Crossing fan. Since Wild World, he has gotten all the games, so he worked on that one.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I guess for me, I've told this story a bit about population growing. I think I might have told it in the um, first episode of this
Yes,
podcast. But
right.
yeah, essentially the first game I played mostly with my brother and my friend. My brother actually watched the video I posted, going through Animal Crossing population growing, and I was like, "Oh, you watched it?" And he was like,
Mm.
"Yeah, that game is tight." He loved that game. We all did, and so yeah, we just every day after school we'd just walk back home, and then we'd turn on Animal Crossing. That was it. That was the first thing, and the
Nice.
whole way I remember we were just like, "Who's gonna play first?" I don't know. I want to play first, and he was like, You always play first." And so yeah, so I remember just arguing about when to play or who was going to play first.
Right, right. Did you guys ever try like you get to play first on Tuesdays and Fridays, and you get Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, I think we tried to alternate, but I don't know. Eventually, I was like, well, the GameCube's in my room. I could just wake up before school and play first all the days. And so, it was mostly my game, so I kind of took control of it.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a fun time, and I don't know. I was just geeking out over playing it again recently, but
Nice. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I want to start another little place on my thing. And I'm also kind of hoping that Jackie will, be interested in like oh, having a house in my town.
Oh, yes.
Because I'd like her to be in like my Switch one if she wants. I mean,
Yes. Right.
yeah, if she makes a little home, especially if it's split screen multiplayer, amazing. That'd be so
Yes.
much fun. Um, yeah, so let's move on to Wild World. Tell me about that one.
Okay, so on that one, it came out when I actually lived in Bellevue, Washington for about a year for college. It's very close to Seattle, and that's when the game came out when I was over there. And it was a really nice way to keep in touch with my friend Danny, because as we know, Wild World was the first to introduce online play. And we did play it. I said in the podcast that I wasn't too much of a Wild World player. I didn't really get into it. And part of it was because Mario Kart DS had already come out, and the online game or the online aspects of that game were really awesome. And me and Danny, that's really what we would play back then. But it was nice to play Animal Crossing and actually sort of speak to each other via text, because in Mario Kart you couldn't do that, but in Animal Crossing you could type your messages. So yeah, it was definitely a nice way to stay in touch with a long distance friend thanks to Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine that one also had like a lot of pretty significant changes because that game kind of changed Animal Crossing completely.
Yes.
It went to, more of the pin world type of thing instead
Right.
of the acre system. And you, I don't know, I guess the things that I did like that they changed were, obviously adding hats. We didn't have that before. We had new hairstyles.
Yes.
Eventually, you could get that. And yeah, there were a lot of really good changes to it. And but it's also hard to compete against Mario Kart DS because now thinking of that game, it's so good. Like that has like all that challenge mode, right?
Yes.
Which made the single player so fun, and playing it online was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I loved Wild World. I would say that I feel like one of my friends got Wild World, and my brother didn't really get Wild World or played it. Maybe he got it later. I don't know,
Hmm.
but I mostly played Wild World, and um, I just have distinct memories of planting tons and tons of trees of like foreign fruit, and I'd be visiting Mexico in the summer, and every 3 days I'd just spend like 2 hours not doing anything with anybody because I was harvesting my fruit and selling them all. And now thinking back, I wish you could that feature where you could bundle up the fruit. I
Yes.
wish that existed back then
Oh my God, yes.
because it would have saved me a lot of time because I was going back and forth all day getting all those fruit. But yeah, I guess I played with one friend, and that was about it. I'd say this is the one. Wild World and City Folk, I didn't really get to play too much with other people. City Folk a little bit more, but Wild World
Hmm.
overall was kind of like a solitary experience for me. And it's weird because it's also like kind of a very solitary game. Like it's the smallest of
Hmm.
any of the Animal Crossing games. It
Right.
has in some ways it has more than population growing, but in other ways it has a lot less.
Yes. Right.
Specifically, like it didn't get too many holidays added to it. It didn't, and they were all. But the one thing is they were all kind of unique to Wild World.
Mhm.
So that was special about it. But yeah, just overall, it felt like a very lonely game for it adding like all of the online features and everything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so it's different. It's a different experience.
Yeah, but
Um,
we definitely appreciate the fact that it added the features and they have been refined up to the point where they are now in New Leaf. We wouldn't be where we are now without you, Wild World.
yeah, that's true. So it's led to many great things. So let's talk about City Folk. Did you get into this one a little bit more than Wild World?
Yes, and because of that, because I didn't play Wild World, I was really looking forward to City Folk when it was coming out. Unfortunately, I didn't have the funds back when the game was out, so I was saving for it. And thankfully, my best friend Danny again, he worked at Walmart at the time, and he happened to get a copy of the game and the bundle that came with the We Speak accessory for the Wii. That was for voice chat.
I
And
always wanted that, but I never got it.
oh, you didn't.
No, I never had it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Danny, since he worked at Walmart, he had a couple of, retail privileges. So he was able to get two copies of the bundle a day before official release, which was pretty awesome.
Wow.
So, yeah, he gave me a copy, and, we were both in love with the game. I think I was more than him because, I kind of skipped Wild World. And about every month or so, for at least a couple of months, we would visit each other's towns and play with We Speak. It was nice.
Yeah, that I wish we just had voice chat um, on Animal
Oh,
Crossing.
yes, yes, yes.
It would make things so much faster because you can't type enough in those messages. It's
Right,
not enough.
right.
um, yeah, I love that. I totally wish I had the We Speak. I never got it. And in some ways, I guess it's sad, but in others, I'm like, I guess I didn't play online too much, just sometimes. So I guess for me, City Folk, I played this one a lot. I I played every Animal Crossing game a lot. um, but I guess I always forget how much I played City Folk because it was a strange game where it was like kind of just Wild World but updated.
Yes,
And I did really like the way it was updated, so overall I like it better than Wild World.
right.
And I like the things that it added, like the city and all the new shops, new characters, and everything. And so for me, I played. This was the same kind of thing. It was kind of solitary. Um, I think my brother started a house in this one with me because it was another like shared kind of thing,
Yes,
right?
right. Hmm.
I don't think he got into it as much as I did. I think at that point he was starting to get into Harvest Moon,
Ooh.
and I think he liked the way Harvest Moon like worked a little more,
Hmm.
at least as far as like time goes, because he didn't feel like he
Oh,
just
yes.
played. He wanted something more where he could like grind for a while. We were really into
Oh, mhm.
Pokemon, so he just liked that you can keep playing a new day like all the time. And
Yes, right.
so, Animal Crossing, there's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of waiting for things to happen, just like real life.
Yeah.
So I think he did have a house, and then I would visit a friend here and there. My friend Jacob, and I remember going to his town and being like, "Man, your town looks awesome." And I don't know, he just had such a different layout, and that's when I realized I was like, I haven't gone to too many places because I've only kind of seen this one layout of my town.
Mhm.
And going to his and seeing how different it was, I was like blown away, and I was like, "Man, I wish I played this online more." And um I there was a YouTuber he's still around. He's called Red Panda Gamer, but they did a series called 365 Days of Animal Crossing. And at the time when they did it, the most recent game was City Folk. And so they were playing every day for 365 days, right?
Ooh.
So essentially a year.
Mhm.
funny enough, he did it on a leap year, so everybody was asking if he was going to do 366, and he was like, I already called this 365. I'm going to stick to that. And so um, he didn't exactly do a year just because of that year random happenstance, right?
Right.
But anyways, near the end of his series, he kind of got he had a big like live streaming event where he was inviting people over. So he was adding people on the Wii with their friend codes, and eventually he added me, and I got to go visit his town. And
Hmm.
I think you can actually still find this video, and you can see my character walk in, and
Oh.
I look crazy. I'm like wearing sorry, a helicopter is just flying over my place right now again, always while we're recording. Anyway, so I look crazy. I'm like wearing this cat hat, crazy like mask or something on my face, and like I'm an animal. I look like an animal. I have completely forgotten my human ways and accepted that I am now one with the creatures in Animal Crossing.
Right.
And so yeah, I show up in that video for a little bit, and I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, I think that was essentially it. I didn't play too much online. It wasn't till New Leaf that I started
Mhm.
playing with strangers, playing with different people and everything. And it helped because at that point, my friends, new friends in college, could get into the game too. Um,
Yeah. Right. Right.
yeah, so I guess I'll go into my New Leaf thing since I've already kind of started.
Mhm.
New Leaf came out. I'm in college at the time. I go and get the game with my brother, my friend, and my other friend who both lived together. They were roommates. Well, flatmates. They lived in the same apartment. Um,
Hmm.
and so the and maybe one other friend. I think five of us went total. And so we went. I got rear-ended on the way back. Took forever to get home.
Mhm.
But eventually we all got there, and we all just started playing Animal Crossing. And so it was a fun experience to have four other people besides myself playing this game and enjoying it together, you know?
Right.
And yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get that again, but it was so much fun having so many people to play Animal Crossing with right there, you know? And everybody had
Yeah.
a different town, everybody had all the different fruit. It was so cool.
Yeah, and especially because like we discussed on the other ones, at least in Wild World and City Folk, we didn't have that experience. So I'm sure it must have been amazing to finally go all out multiplayer in New Leaf from day one,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, definitely. And I was for sure in a totally different part of my life at that point. It's crazy to me to think that Animal Crossing, Population Growing, Wild World, and City Folk were all in my high school years.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden in college, I finally got a new
Oh,
Animal
you're right.
Crossing. So it's like I went from high school to college, and it was like a totally different experience. And then at that point, like thinking back, like I didn't really have internet in my home, at least like nothing better that was that much better than dial up, you know? And I
Mhm.
didn't even know like what websites to go to to like play with people. But at that point in New Leaf, I was like, man, I found Beltree forums, I was on Tumblr, and there were just so many people always talking about Animal Crossing, you know?
Right, right.
I actually had like 300 followers on my Tumblr because leading
Oh,
up to Animal Crossing New Leaf, I did a 100-day countdown challenge where every day I'd be posting something Animal Crossing related. And so I'd posted that, and a lot of people got hold of it, started following
right.
me. And so, yeah, so I had a little bit of a following.
Nice.
But yeah, it was so much fun playing online. I remember Tumblr. I was doing the animal trade. trying to get the best villagers or, selling the ones I had. um, but yeah, that was the first time. Oh, and of course the stock market. And so, yeah,
Oh
that was the
yes,
first time
yes.
when I was just like all over the internet, just trying to play with different people on Animal Crossing.
Right.
Yeah. So, what was your experience with
Nice.
that?
Oh man, my experience with New Leaf, it's so hype. Okay, so very well before the game came out, I was in a website that is forums, somewhat renowned. It's called NeoGAF. And they recently had a couple of issues and they had to do some major restructuring, but yeah, they were somewhat renowned as video game forums. And at least 7 months before the game came out in the United States, so when the game was out in Japan, and from then on we had uh, official thread, they call them, or OT, for Animal Crossing New Leaf. And everyone that wanted to talk about the game, or what they were going to do, or the few people that had the Japanese copy, they could discuss it there. And very soon after the Japanese version came out, we already maxed out the number of posts that the thread could have, which I believe was like 30,000. So they already started OT number two well before the game officially came out everywhere. And it got to the point that one of the administrators asked us to do our own IRC, which is like a chat group. It's very similar to Discord.
Hmm.
Because they said, you guys, I mean, we love the hype that you guys are talking so much about Animal Crossing, but you gotta take it easy. We need to be in OT number two when the game comes out. So we did do that. The most talkative members, we got into the IRC. We did our own little chat group. I was the volunteer greeter. I would say welcome to everybody that came into the chat whenever they wanted to chat. And I kid you not, I was there all the time. I was there before work. I was there right after work, just talking about Animal Crossing, just building up massive hype for New Leaf. I didn't care about spoilers. I just wanted to see it all and talk about it all, and it was so awesome.
I've got to say, I also did not care about spoilers. I watched every single Animal Crossing video I could get my hands on when it came out in Japan. I remember there was this couple in Japan called Lin and Co. and they they played like, I don't know, they didn't play enough. I was like, I'm getting videos like once, maybe twice a week from you. I need more. And I couldn't get enough of the game. And I feel like, I guess I'm not too worried about spoilers in Animal Crossing because like seeing it is never going to be the same as
Yes,
playing it.
exactly.
Like you completely make your own experience on Animal Crossing. It is unlike any other game. Like you can watch it and not understand what's happening until like you play the game and then you're like, "Man, I love this." And it just changes everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wasn't worried. I was making my own plans. I was all, "Oh, you can do that. I'm going to do that for me here and I want this kind of thing to happen in my town." And you can just like think of your own ideas for the game and it I don't know, I enjoy watching other people play.
Yes. Yeah.
um, because you get something personal from them. You get their own little tastes, their own little quirks, and it's just a different experience than what you're doing. And
Yeah.
so I feel like you can watch Animal Crossing and not get bored of it and still want to play it. It makes you
Yes.
want to play it even more.
Exactly. You get inspired. You get to see how different people play different ways. Animal Crossing, and yeah, you might get inspired to try something or do things a different way or in a different order. The game does that in a way. You may plan, okay, today I'm gonna start doing this or that, and then all of a sudden somebody asks you for a request, and it moves you on a tangent that you didn't expect, but you love it all the same.
Yeah, it's so great. It takes you all over the world. I love it.
And I do gotta mention during the chat hype that I went through for New Leaf, which was, like I said, at least 8 months. all the time that I was on that chat group, I would be playing this song, on YouTube. It's from a Nintendo 64 racing game called Revolt. And to be honest, I don't even remember how I started playing this song, but I did it once and I sort of linked it to New Leaf into the chat and it became part of it. Like I actually posted it on our Discord group under the gallery channel, if anybody wants to listen. To me, that song should be in Animal Crossing. It's so much hype. I love that song. I cannot hear it and not think and remember these great times that I went through.
I love that. I've never heard of this game, nor have I played it.
I don't think it's a good one. And the song itself is not great, but I just link it to Animal Crossing and I love
That explains a lot. Um, yeah, I guess I'll take a listen to that because yeah, I've never heard of this game, never played it, never heard what music is in it, but I'm interested to see because yeah, thinking about it now, when I was playing the first Animal Crossing, which Animal Crossing? I don't know which Animal Crossing I was playing, but when I was playing it, this is embarrassing. I would always be listening to Demi Lovato's first album. And I would play that in the background. And this was like years into me playing the game, so I like already knew all of the hourly music by
it. Yeah.
heart. So I didn't mind missing it after that point, at that
Right.
point. But yeah, I'd have that album in the background. It was embarrassing. Um, so yeah, for now that album does not make me think of Animal Crossing, but for a long time it did.
Oh
Like
yeah, I'm
anytime
sure.
I heard a song from Demi Lovato, um, yep. So yeah, that
Animal
now you
Crossing.
know. Now you know all the embarrassing music I was into. I would probably still listen. I'm never too embarrassed by music. I just listen to all sorts of things. Um, but yeah, I guess did you have anything else to say about online play in the game or multiplayer play?
No, I mean it's been awesome and it's cool to see that in a way your experiences and mine were similar. It's building up, in New Leaf it definitely took off big time because of online play and the age of the internet and how much easier it is to find people that play what we play and love what we love. And I cannot wait to be so much hype again, even longer for the next game. In a way, I kind of see this podcast as hype, as building up hype, for the next game.
Yeah, I think the next one is going to be even crazier. Considering like now we've got more communities that we're tied into
Yes.
and we do talk about this game pretty regularly, so I think we're going to be having a lot of fun whenever this game comes out.
Right, right.
um, yeah. I've now just got my fingers crossed for split screen multiplayer.
Oh, yes, that's a great feature. Yes.
It'd be so great. Another feature, allow all of the characters to be shown on the map so you can follow people or know where they are.
Mhm.
um, okay, so anyways, let's move on to our next topic. It's a pretty short one. I don't have too much to say about this, but I recently revisited Pocket Camp. What did I do in Pocket Camp? Not much. The one thing that I'm glad about with opening the app is the season has changed, so there's kind of a new
Hmm.
title screen, a new color, and so
Mhm.
I've been taking a screenshot of each of these new colors.
Nice.
Hopefully, I didn't miss one in the time that I didn't play, but I've got most of them. That's all I can say for that. So yeah, right away logging in, I noticed some new things like you can flip through the little tips that it gives you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you can manually flip through that now instead of waiting for it to change
Mhm.
automatically. Um, I remembered how long the loading times are on my phone. Um, did you ever have a problem with that?
No, not really.
Yeah, I have not the best phone, so the game just loaded pretty slowly for me. Yeah, but that's fine.
Hmm.
It's not the biggest deal. And so, anyways, yeah, I forget what else new. What else was new that I noticed. But it's essentially the same thing. I logged in, I opened the map. I was like, I guess I'll go to the, I don't even remember the name, the main marketplace, and see what cookies they've got. I
Right.
did happen to find two of the special cookies. Um, I forget which cookies are there right now, but I got two new items, which was pretty
Nice.
cool. And then let me see.
It might have been
Uh,
Blue Bear.
yeah, I think so. I think overall it made me kind of sad. I was like, man, I can't get all the items anymore. And even if I wanted to, I'd be irresponsible because I don't want to spend the money to do that.
Right. Right now.
you know? And so that's disappointing in the game. I don't want to see that type of thing happen in like the full Switch game.
Right.
Um, just because overall I'd be sad about it. I'd just be sad that there's stuff that I can't get in the game. And I think the problem is like it's flooded when it's all digital, you
Mm.
know? Like
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of things and you can't possibly get them all. Whereas like I don't know, I bought all the amiibo and there are a lot of those, but there's kind of a finite number of them.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I knew if I bought all 450 cards, that's all of them. I have
Right.
them.
Right.
Well, it's not all of them, but
No,
it's
but
almost all of them.
right, and they serve a much better or more significant purpose than just an item, And not only on the game that they come out for, but it's a series. There's always going to be more future games, and they could always use the same amiibo.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, now that I have all of these, I'm sure they'll work in the next game.
Right.
And the other thing, like, I really like the amiibo cards because I've said this before. I never got to collect the e-reader cards,
Hmm.
and that these amiibo cards like made me feel nostalgic because I was like, oh, this is like that thing that I could never
Yes.
get before, but now I can because I'm an adult and I have money. uh, yeah, so it's nice to, and also we don't get a lot of Animal Crossing memorabilia or things to buy, so
Yes. Hmm.
that I was willing to spend money on. But yeah, it's just too stressful to keep up with the game, so I didn't even do anything. I
No.
just logged in, took a quick look, and then I was like, I'm gonna leave.
Right.
And so I haven't played since, but just that
Yeah.
one little, maybe 5 minutes. But it felt like 20 because it loads so slow.
Oh, I see.
I
Yeah,
need a better phone.
I remember recently, I believe Red came into the game, and he has like a little masks emporium, and it wasn't. We couldn't be certain if you could buy the masks because there's a KK Slider mask, and if you could buy it and wear it, I was gonna come back. So I was trying to ask people that were still playing for confirmation, and most likely I haven't seen that you're able to buy and wear them, so I haven't had the need to go back.
Yeah, that's now that I'm thinking about it, that is the reason I checked. And then I was like, "Oh, I have 80 Leaf tickets. I don't have enough. I'm out of
Yeah,
here."
yeah, especially because the by the time we quit, the easiest way to get new Leaf tickets was to keep playing every day and do the login bonus.
Yeah, and I just feel like Nintendo's not throwing out enough Leaf tickets.
Hmm.
I felt like they were pretty generous with Fire Emblem Heroes.
Right.
I feel like they give out orbs to, get this deluxe stuff in that game all the time. But in Animal Crossing, it's like never happening.
Hmm.
And I think that's the bummer. There's just no way to to
No.
keep up and get everything, and it's also expensive too. Um, Fire Emblem, it's like one thing, You use 5 orbs to get it, and the more times you do it in a row, the less orbs it costs. It's just such a good
Yes,
deal.
that makes so much sense. Yes.
And then Animal Crossing. Oh, that totally reminds me. Pocket Camp. When I looked at the shop to see the fortune cookies, the new cookies had an option to buy one or an option to buy five.
Hmm.
And so if you bought one, it costs 50. If you bought five, it costs 250. So they're all still 50
Yeah.
each. And so
Right.
there's really no reason to get it
Right.
and get
No.
them all at once like that. So it's a bummer. I wish they would mess with that system and make it just a little bit more forgiving on our wallets.
Right.
Yep. Um, so yeah, I'm done with Pocket Camp now, and we can move on to Animal Crossing population growing. This is our last little thing that we're going to talk about today, but I recently put up a video just this past Sunday, today for us, 2 days ago for everybody listening to the podcast. But I just put up a video, and I did a tour finally of the Animal Crossing town that was on the memory card from the copy I bought recently,
Right.
and it was so much fun. I had such a good time. I know you already watched it, Sergio. So, what did you think of the
Yes.
town?
Oh, I loved it. I like the video a lot. It's always really nice to see population growing because, us big fans of the series, we're always looking at what we used to have in what, little features that we miss from the first game that haven't come back or that have been revised. But it's also very nice to see a town in population growing that was heavily played because you can see things like the statue or things that you only see once the game has really progressed. And it's very nice, very nostalgic.
Yeah, and thinking back, I don't think I ever got that statue because I was tired of paying Nook, and I was like, I'm not getting punished for not paying you, and
Yeah,
my town
that's right.
and my house is already as big as it can get. No reason to buy it. And then I found out you get a statue of yourself erected, and I'm like, man, I should have done that. Um, but yeah, it's fun to see like a town that's been lived in, and
Right, right.
you can see all the little personality that it has. And if it's been, how many months was it? 154 months or whatever.
Mhm.
If it's been that long, you can see all the weeds that have grown
Oh, yes, there's so
in
many.
that time. My brother actually did the math, and it turns out this person last played and talked to their villagers 12 years and 9 months ago.
Ooh.
So it was like 2005, which was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see them all waiting for you for that long.
12 years.
And they keep count.
Yeah.
And the highest they can count, the highest unit of measurement they use is a month. They don't
Yeah.
change it to years.
Right.
I don't know. They should.
Right.
Um, so was there anything that stood out to you as you watched the video?
Oh, I think it's always the differences that we notice, from the games in the new ones compared to this one, the first one. One thing that stood out to me, and it was thanks to your commentary about when a villager is about to move out, there's nothing you can do, I'm sorry, to prevent that. I don't remember exactly. I mean, I played a lot of population growing, but I don't remember anybody moving out and me wanting to stop it. So I guess I didn't know that you couldn't. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty unforgiving, and that was a very rare case. Like, usually you don't know if somebody's moving, and they just leave, and
Mm,
then you wake up in the morning and they're gone, and you're like, no.
right.
And so that was a very rare occasion where the villager, I talked to them, and they were like, yeah, I'm headed out. I'm not going to live here anymore. And so I don't, maybe I'll check back and see if that villager is already gone. But yeah, there's really nothing you can do in
Right.
this game to keep your favorite villagers. Like, once they're set on leaving, they're out of there. Like, you better enjoy that last day that you've got with them.
Right. They don't even ask you anything. They just say, I've made up my mind. I'm gone.
Yeah, they don't need your input. They're animals. They're wild. They're out there living their own life, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and but at the same time, like, in New Leaf, when somebody says they want to leave and you tell them not to go, it kind of makes me feel bad when I tell them not to go. I'm like, am I holding you back
Right.
from what you could accomplish leaving and, going to bigger and better things? Who am I to tell you to stay,
Right.
And so it's hard. It's nice to get the option, and I think if maybe I'll make a little rule for myself. If somebody like asks to leave 3 times
Three.
or something, I'll accept it and be like, all right, it's time for you to head on out. Go do your thing, buddy.
Right. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice of you.
Yeah. And because, I get kind of bored seeing the same faces in town every day. I like to see them change out, and,
Yeah.
I like to see new people, new animals.
Yeah, that was a cool thing about Pocket Camp. I mean, I do have my favorites from New Leaf, and I never want them to leave. But you're right. It might be nice to let them go, and because they're not just gone. Someone else is coming in, so there's always someone new to talk to.
Yeah, and we on the next game, like, we don't know how many new cool villagers are going to be out there,
Yeah. Yep.
there's always room for more. And in this video I kind of pointed out there were a couple that haven't returned
Hmm. Hmm.
since that game, and maybe we'll see them return. Like, there, I did a count the other day, and I think there was something like 70 something villagers who have yet to
Oh
return,
wow.
and that's a lot, right?
Yes. Right.
I was really surprised at how many that were still not in the game.
Right.
Um, because New Leaf did such a good job of like really packing in villagers. There were tons that you could get. Um, but yeah, it's amazing to me that Population Growing still had so many that you could get.
Yes.
Yeah, so um, I liked seeing those villagers that just didn't exist, and then yeah, I guess I already mentioned that my brother did the math, and it's been 12 years and 9 months since that person has talked to those
Right.
villagers. And it could be even longer for all of us because those villagers haven't come back and we need them.
Right.
Yeah, so anything else stick out to you in this little video?
No, I loved it, and it's nice to see, but it's also gonna be nice to look at. I believe you're starting a new town, correct?
Yeah, I do want to start my own little town. I'm gonna use a different memory card. I
Hmm.
don't have the heart to delete
Right.
what exists on that memory card, so I'm gonna go ahead and preserve that one.
Right.
It's a little time capsule, and I like it a lot.
And go back to it in 12 years and 9 months again.
Yeah, exactly. I can look back at it and be like, look, kids, this is this game. Do you see it? That's the date that we live in right now. Um, though I think there is a limit to the years,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
What was it? Was it 2032 or something?
Something like that. Right. It's past the 2000.
Yeah, I'll double check that and see what is the last year in Animal Crossing. Because that's how long the game is intended to be played.
We definitely all have to go back to that game before then.
Yeah, it might be like a 30-year long game. That would make sense.
Yeah.
So it might be 2032.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it would make sense. Um, I wanted to ask one thing. I'm not remembering. I guess. Oh yeah. So that was a longer video, right? It was about
Hmm.
in almost an hour. What did you think of that?
No, I
Was it
liked
too
it.
long?
I think it's good. I liked, the fact that you gave warning just in case if people wanted to plan their time, or they could always pause and continue watching later. But I liked the fact that you went into detail, and you, of course, Animal Crossing, so you can tell everybody what's different, what's changed, and what has been either taken out or added to the series since population growing. No, I think it was great. I think you did a great job.
Thanks. And yeah, I guess I personally like longer videos. I like things like podcasts, just things that I can, enjoy for a little bit longer than 10 minutes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm going to try to get a good mix of that on this channel for everyone because I know some people just like the short stuff.
Yeah.
So you can expect some short videos from me all the time. Though I have pretty much nothing but long videos this week. I mean, obviously this podcast is longer. Wednesday, I'm starting another Stardew Valley farm. Um, I had one going,
Hmm.
but I decided I didn't want to do the forest farm as my multiplayer farm. I want to
Mm.
do the river farm. And so I played through the 3 days just to catch up to where I was.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so that's going to be a longer one. And then outside of that, it should be a fun week. I've got some fun videos that are going to be popping up throughout. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm excited for everybody to see it, and I'm excited to have time to be making new things. And this Friday, tune in because my next series is starting. It's going to be 5 features from each Animal Crossing game that I want to see return.
Nice.
That's not a great title, but it's the one I've got so far. I'm still brainstorming it, so I don't know. You can be judgmental. Think of titles in the comments. But yeah, it should be fun. I know I've sent you kind of a small list of things that I've liked so far, and you've added things that I think are great. So yeah, it should be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, so anyways, thank you all so much for listening. If you want to be part of the conversation on all things Animal Crossing, join the Discord. I have a link in the description of this podcast. It's totally free to join. You don't have to be a patron, and if you do join, you can get Sergio and my friend codes. If you do want to become a patron, visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo. For just $1, you can support our show and get tons of cool things. I've started a new series that patrons get first access to. I visit dream addresses while creating a weekly diary entry, and the first one is already out, so you all who are not patrons will get to hear it on Sunday. And you can get all sorts of really cool things. We really try to make it worth it for you to be a patron because we appreciate the support. It goes toward the show. I now make enough to cover the costs of actually getting this podcast up. So I like that. And if you are watching or listening on YouTube, please leave a comment about how Animal Crossing has changed your social life, or, just a memory about playing Animal Crossing with other people. And then please leave a review of the show wherever you're listening. It helps the show gain some visibility and allows our community to grow. And once again, thank you all so much for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.